Hello everyone, today I want to take you on a journey to the Northern Kingdoms and show you how one of the very first quests in The Witcher 3 has personally set the bar for all of quest design in gaming. I would highly recommend that if you haven't played The Witcher 3 or you've never really got into it, that you experience this quest for yourself firsthand. But if you'd rather hear me describe it for you, then welcome. Let me tell you the tale of Philip Stranger, the Bloody Baron. To set the scene for those unfamiliar with the Witcher universe, we play as Geralt, a monster slayer. But what separates Geralt from a typical mercenary is that he was literally created for this. Witches are biologically altered to gain superhuman abilities, reflexes, see in the dark, just to name a few, but all of these traits were to make them more efficient at hunting monsters and protecting humans. In Geralt's own words, "I kill monsters for money, I defend children when their parents pay me to, and even if the world lies in ruin, I'll carry on killing monsters in the ruins of this world until some monster kills me. That is my fate, my reason, my life, and my attitude to the world. And it is not what I chose, it was chosen for me." Now, it's common belief in this society that witches are emotionless, whether it be because of these genetic modifications, their rigorous combat training, or the monstrous horrors that they have to face on a day-to-day basis. Well, it's debatable if witches are incapable of feeling emotion. The overarching story of The Witcher 3 is Geralt is searching for Ciri, a girl that he considers like a daughter to him. If he truly had no emotion, he wouldn't worry about Ciri's whereabouts and certainly not show fear for her safety.
Desperate fathers have been known to do a lot to find their daughters.
Unexpected from a witcher. I thought your mutations cleansed you of humanity, stripped you of emotions.
You don't need mutations to strip men of their humanity. I've seen plenty of examples.
Rather, Geralt acts and speaks the way he does, very bluntly, because he cannot allow emotion to cloud his judgment. He is paid to complete contracts, and sometimes a contract is not just hunting a monster. Sometimes the real monster was right in front of you the whole time. So, this quest starts in a settlement in Velen. Geralt is following a lead to Ciri's whereabouts, and he is directed to speak to the Baron of Crow's Perch. At a first glance, the Baron is stout, red-faced, and in high spirits, until you are behind closed doors.
Someone loses their way around here, he becomes damn hard to find.
What are you getting at?
Many have lost loved ones here. Some their wives, others their daughters.
The Baron asks for Geralt to find his wife and daughter, and in exchange he will give Geralt information about the whereabouts of Ciri.
I need every last bit of information available.
I understand. But you see, it so happens my wife and daughter are missing as well.
Geralt asks where to start, but the Baron shares surprisingly little details.
This place. Must be hard to be the only two women here.
This place? What do you mean? I wanted for nothing here. Pheasant for dinner? Not a problem. Blue ribbons from Toussaint? Say the word.
Had your men in mind. Their company. Sure your wife and daughter weren't being harassed?
My men are a horde of Horsens, but they know their place.
He denies having any enemies. There is no one who would have a motive to target his family. However, the Baron insists that his family were treated extremely well. With no other information, Geralt asks to search the bedchambers.
I need clues. Anything to latch onto.
I'll not let a stranger pore through their belongings.
Want me to find them or not?
The Baron ultimately relents, but insists on accompanying Geralt there, saying that he will have to unlock the doors. In the couple's bedchamber, Geralt finds a smashed bottle, deep marks on the walls, and a candlestick broken in two, with the other half hidden in the wardrobe.
No coincidence there. Fight might have happened here.
When you confront the Baron with this evidence, he will dismiss the idea.
A fight? What are you talking about?
Someone was attacked. Probably your wife or daughter. Whoever it was tried to defend themselves with a candlestick. Missed the attacker. Punctured the wall instead. They tussled too.
I don't know nothing about this. That night, I was drunk. Don't remember a thing. They were gone by the time I awoke.
Another item you find when investigating is a protective talisman. The Baron tells us that this is the handiwork of the Peller. Pellers are shamans who commune with the spirits and omens. A shaman who Annie consulted with and trusted. Now when we go to find the Peller and help him out, he will agree to help Geralt locate the Baron's family. We watch as the Peller's eyes roll back as he communes with the spirits.
Blood! I see blood!
Whose?
No Anna, no Tamara, just the child. A child that lives not, yet did not die.
Now what does this mean?
Anna was pregnant?
She was, and she miscarried.
Baron didn't mention it.
Afraid, perhaps, or ashamed, or forgetful. Or perhaps he had no wish to remember.
This changes a lot about what we already know. The Baron didn't mention that his wife was carrying a child, and that her pregnancy had ended prematurely.
What happened to the child?
In a grave thrown, without rite or ceremony, it awoke. Now it wanders, it seeks vengeance.
A botchling.
Alone and unwanted, it twisted into a cursed being, that of a botchling. This wouldn't have happened if they had had a proper ceremony to pay respect to their death. Someone tried to cover this up. Could it be Anna, wanting to hide her miscarriage? Or could it be something darker than that? You see, back when we first arrived at the Peller's hut, there were actually some people here before us. The Baron's men, banging on the door, going to harass the Peller. What a coincidence that they decided to pay him a visit right before Geralt arrived to ask about the Baron's wife. And the fact that the Baron called the Peller completely insane.
Ought to have a chat with this Peller.
Fair warning, he's a hard man to talk to. Rumour has it he killed his own father with an axe as a lad, then went batty. Now they say he sees ghosts and ploughs his goat.
The Baron was afraid that we would find out the information that we have just learnt, and try to discredit the Peller by insulting his mental faculties, and even sending his soldiers to intimidate and threaten. Returning to Crow's Perch, we find that something terrible has happened. A fire is spreading over the settlement. However, as we run through the streets, listen to what the townsfolk are saying.
Set the stable afire. We've got to put it out. I'll not go near there.
Don't calm him down.
Go yourself. You know only Miss Tammy could calm his rages. Rather not end up with a blade between my ribs.
The Baron started this fire, whether intentionally or not, but because he was drunk again. So by now we know that the Baron has a drinking problem and an issue with his anger. Through his own admission earlier, we know that on the night prior to the disappearance, he had been drinking, and he conveniently didn't remember there being a fight in the bedchamber. But now we know that his wife had been pregnant, which gives us a lead as to why she miscarried. As you approach the fire, you can actually see the Baron staggering around the courtyard. He is so heavily under the influence that you can actually see him attacking his own men just for attempting to calm him down. When you save those who had been trapped in the fire, the Baron continues to be an unpleasant drunk, joking around despite the gravity of the situation he's caused. Geralt confronts him head on with the sobering new information.
I know your wife miscarried. Was that before or after you beat her to a pulp?
What the fuck are you suggesting?
Don't play me for a fool. You'd been beating them for years. Finally, they'd had enough and fled. Sound about right? You knew they had run away from the start.
Yes, I knew.
Why didn't you tell me? Wasted my time.
Say I had. Say I'd said I had troubles. Couldn't control my wife, my daughter. What kind of flaccid prick would you take me for?
Now, in a way, the Baron is actually right. If I'd started this video by framing the Baron as an angry, violent drunk, it's likely that we would have considered this an open and shut case, but that would be too easy. For now we know that this is not a mystery vanishing. Anna and Tamara left the Baron willingly.
I'd been soaking myself 3 days straight. Anna came to me, said they were leaving. I begged them to stay. She refused to hear it. I tried to stop her. She wriggled like an eel. We struggled. She fell.
He physically tried to stop his family from leaving, grabbing at his wife and starting an altercation. The result of this is what we saw in the bedchamber.
Tamara present for all this? She see you quarrel?
Through the doorway, perhaps. She didn't enter the room. Shame, too. Things might have turned out differently. The sight of her always calmed me.
Things might have turned out differently is a strange statement, as if the Baron is admitting that if she were there, maybe the fight would not have escalated to the level that it did. It's a strange way of shifting the blame. The Baron's monologue here is effective enough without me needing to add any commentary, so I'm just going to let him speak.
I awoke at sunset, not knowing how many days had passed. Thought it was all a ploughing, drunken nightmare. And then I went to the bedchamber, but Anna was not there. Instead, there was blood everywhere. I knew she'd miscarried. My breath short, my throat locked. I neared the bed and saw it. It lay there, a tiny thing, defenseless, on bloodied sheets, dead. And it was my doing.
He sits with his head bowed, palms upturned, his body language entirely open and vulnerable. His whole being is screaming for forgiveness. But Geralt will not give it to him. There is another who needs closure first, the botchling.
What did you do with the child?
What was I to do? Took it out and buried it.
Deal we made means I need to find Tamara and Anna first. Just so happens your unborn daughter might help us do that.
There are two options. They can either take a risk by performing an old ritual which will transform the botchling into a lubberkin. A lubberkin is a friendly spirit who can help guide them to the whereabouts of the Baron's family. Or
we kill it and draw some blood. Take that to the Peller and he does the rest.
Do not kill my child. It's suffered enough already. Lift the curse that it may finally rest in peace.
that night the Baron takes us to where he buried the body, and I really like this moment with Geralt.
Here's the spot.
Chose a lovely spot.
Damn it, will you relent? I'm ploughing now I've done wrong.
Good.
It's as if he's speaking for all of us, by pushing the Baron to think more about his wrongdoing.
Look!
Now at this point you can choose to kill the botchling. However, in my opinion, this is the easy way out for the Baron. We would be allowing him to forget about his actions, removing what had been haunting him. But if we choose to go instead with the ritual, this will let the Baron confront his guilt head on.
Pick it up. Take it in your arms.
Merciful gods!
You see the horror and disgust on the Baron's face as we force him to carry his abandoned child all the way back up to his threshold, quite literally carrying his burden. Now, if you think this is being too harsh on the Baron, allow me to remind you what we know about him so far. The Baron is a physically abusive drunk who made both his people and his family terrified of him. His rage was so great that his own daughter and wife had to escape him, the latter suffering a miscarriage as a result. There should be no sympathy for him at this point, right? Well, that's what I thought, until I saw what happens next.
What now?
Repeat after me. By the powers of earth and sky.
By the powers of earth and sky.
By the world that was to be your home.
By the world that was to be your home.
Forgive me, you who came, but who I did not embrace.
Forgive me, you who came, but who I did not embrace.
I name thee, say her name, and embrace thee as my daughter.
I name thee, Daya, and embrace thee as my daughter.
As much as you may hate the Baron, you can see the pain on his face, scrunching his eyes shut tight. I love the words to this naming ritual. It's a confession, allowing the Baron to admit to what he has failed to do. And with that, the ritual is done. The Baron begs to stay with Geralt, but he dismisses him. He has done his part.
That's my child. And the guilt, the responsibility for all this lies with me.
Time for parental impulses? It's long past.
Come morning, we see that the ritual was a success, a lubberkin appearing and signalling for us to follow. The lubberkin leads us deep into the swamp, where we find a family who last saw Anna and Tamara.
I'm looking for Tamara and her mother. I need to know if they're alive and safe.
Tamara is, hi. She's to my brother's place in Oxenford. But Mrs. Anna, that's another tale. Though anywhere's better than to Crow's Birch with a Baron.
Why?
'Cause he beat her, sir. Beat Mrs. Anna, I means. Everyone knew, but not a one lifted a finger for to stop it.
Tamara, however, is safe and is staying in a nearby city of Oxenford. Anna, on the other hand...
A beast jumped out of the woods, big as a barn, with horns and 2 burning coals for eyes. I thought I was done for. Beast attacked Mrs. Anna's horse, ripped its head off, carried her off into the woods.
So we can go straight to Oxenford, or we can return to the Baron with this new lead, and if you do so, he will give you an item to pass on to Tamara.
You find my daughter, will you give her this?
A rag doll? Your father asked me to give you this.
Clara? Father told you to give me Clara. Funny how he thought to buy me back with a memory.
Tamara does not appreciate this sentiment, finding it manipulative and pathetic. In fairness, the Baron does live in the golden days. In a lot of his dialogue, he talks about how things were in the past. I don't see him giving the doll to Tamara as entirely emotionally manipulative, more that he places significance in sentimentality. Tamara is adamant on not returning to her father.
Now you've found me, you can tell him I'm alive and I'm never coming back.
Which, in a way, is completely reasonable. I mean, she witnessed her father beat her mother for years, and now she has finally found peace.
And the quarrels. I remember him screaming at Mum, the thuds as he beat her, then her sobbing. I'd hide under my bed and long for silence. That's the long and short of it. Multiply by 19 and there you have my life. Finally, we'd had enough, Mum and me. He crossed the line and we fled.
So Tamara is safe and well, but what about Anna? If we go to a place called the Crookback Bog, there we'll find a group of orphans.
Ain't no lassies here. What am I? You're no lassie. Lassie's got tets.
Who are looked after by a lady called Gran. And after some convincing, Gran will take us to the people who she serves, the ladies of the swamp. Now this is a great quest in its own, which deserves a whole entitled video, but in short, we find out that Gran is actually Anna Stranger, the Baron's wife. we can see a mark light up on her hand. This is the same mark which the fisherman in the hut mentioned to us earlier.
Mrs. Anna screamed, bent over into herself. But then I saw it. Fiery marks on her hands.
She has been enslaved by these crones. So how did Anna end up in this situation? Anna asked for the crones to get rid of her unborn child.
A fruit ripened in her womb. A fruit sprouted from seeds sown by a man she detested.
We helped her. She agreed to serve.
She no longer wanted to carry the Baron's child, for it was a reminder of him, and the crones agreed, but at the cost of Anna giving a year of her service to them. So we find out that it wasn't actually the Baron who caused her miscarriage. It was Anna. Anna must have been in a dire situation to seek out the help of the crones. The Baron said earlier that she rarely approached people she didn't know, let alone other worldly beings. When telling the Baron of his wife's whereabouts, he is angry that Geralt did not bring her back to him. Geralt replies that she didn't seem to want to leave, and this is where we reach another turning point in the plot.
You still think me rotten to the core. A base bastard, don't you? You believe I alone am at fault for what happened here?
If you choose to hear the Baron out, he will tell you the truth, the whole truth this time. In his prime, the Baron was a military man, fighting battle after endless battle. He was rarely home, unable to see Anna and his newborn daughter Tamara. This is where the bottle became his only friend. However, at this point, there is no mention of him ever becoming violent when drunk. His anger issues were caused by something else.
Later, I learned she'd not been so alone after all. For nearly 3 years, she'd found comfort in the arms of one Evan, a childhood friend, a dog's bunghole. Understand, damn it? One tussle in the hay I'd have waved aside, put it out of my mind. But the woman cuckolded me for years, without a whisker of concern for me, for my love. Came home one day and Anna was gone. The things too. Found a letter. She wrote that she didn't love me. That she'd left me for that knob licker and taken Tamara with her. Yet soon as I saw him, something turned inside me. Something dark. I slaughtered the shit-eating twat and fed his carcass to the dogs.
I think it's interesting that despite everything that Anna did, the Baron still wanted to stay together.
It was the first time I hit her. I had to calm her. Felt I had no other means. Things changed. They would never be the same. Anna tried to take her own life, and mine, several times.
He loved her, and don't get me wrong, that doesn't justify his actions, but he gave his wife and daughter the best he could. Anna, on the other hand, outright told the Baron that she didn't love him. Anna is not innocent in this situation. She was unfaithful to her husband and tried to take his life as well as her own. One of Geralt's dialogue choices here I really agree with. They are just as bad as each other. They are both the victim and the aggressor. It's not a matter of who started it. The question is, can they end it? Can they forgive each other? The Baron desperately wants to rescue his wife and asks Geralt to help him travel to the swamp. This is where the quest can branch into 3 different endings, and this will mostly depend on your choices during another quest, the Whispering Hillock. Essentially, you find a spirit trapped in a tree. The spirit begs you to release it, saying that the crones have actually imprisoned those orphans that we found earlier. She wants to help free them. However, the townsfolk nearby say that the tree is causing mysterious disappearances and deaths of the villagers.
Folks' teeth turn black as charcoal. Womenfolk fight like polecats, bawling and brawling over nothing. The young'uns, born crippled, lying, fear and cursing.
So who's telling the truth? Well, you have the choice to either free the spirit or kill it. Someone is going to suffer regardless of which option you choose. there are always consequences to your actions. So if you choose to kill the tree spirit, the villagers of the nearby town will survive. However, when you go to approach the swamp to find Anna with the Baron, we discovered that she is no longer of sound mind.
Mother, it's me. Do you recognize me? What's happened to her?
I said I'd do it all. Give it here. I'll scrub it again. Scrub it clean.
Mother!
The orphans are missing. These children were Anna's source of happiness. They were her children. And when the witches took them, her mental capacity finally snapped.
This is no dark spell, I'm afraid.
Well, what is it then?
She's been through a lot. Lost a child, was carried off by a fiend, lived in the crone's village taking care of children who are now gone. It's left its mark, as it would on anyone.
I know a hermit, a very wise man with a gift for healing. Met him some time past. Lives in the Blue Mountains. I shall take her there. I will not touch drink. I will find the hermit. And once she is herself again, we will find you.
Swear it.
You have my word, child.
This is the most promising interaction we've seen between the Baron and his daughter. And as we watch them walk away, this is the last time we will see them in game, promising that maybe Anna could regain her sanity. What then? Would the Baron really stay sober? Will Anna still want to stay together with her husband? Could they put aside all of their differences and move on? It's not for us to know, and as Geralt puts it,
Witchers were made to kill monsters. It doesn't matter who posted the notice. The coin has to be right, that's all. Witchers don't debate. Their conscience plays no part. They just get on with it, then pick up the coin pouch tossed at their feet and set off on their way. Folk don't expect witchers to save them from themselves.
now this is actually considered to be the best ending of the quest, despite you having to sacrifice the orphans and the tree spirit. The other two endings are unlocked by choosing to free the tree spirit. The children of the swamp escape, presumably the spirit helps them, but will take revenge on the nearby townsfolk, destroying their village. But as a result, the crones will punish Anna for letting this happen, blaming it on her. They turn her into a water hag. Now, you can reverse this curse. In the crone's basement, Geralt finds an altar with 4 dolls. Selecting Anna's corresponding doll will revert the curse. Choosing any of the other 3 incorrect dolls will lead you to the worst ending.
What have you done? You were to save her. She burst into flames, hear me? My mother burned alive. And you? Will you just stand there? You hired this murderer. Have you nothing to say? Did you care that little for her?
The Baron's reaction here is bittersweet. His expression doesn't betray any emotion. He doesn't fly into a defensive rage despite Tamara's blows to his character. This is where his earlier words ring true. The sight of her always calmed me. At this moment, the Baron is in the most level-headed of states. All he can do is stand in silence and listen to these words. Did you really care that little for her? Whenever we spoke to the Baron before about how he treated his family, he was adamant that he gave them everything. Despite all of this effort, it didn't matter. His wife and his child despised him, fled from him. And now, after everything, his wife lays dead at his feet and his daughter disowned from him. These are all the reasons that culminate into the ending here.
Come to Crow Perch for your pay.
Now let's go back and see the ending when you choose the correct doll.
Let's take a look at these dolls.
See the hollyhock there?
This is interesting.
A doll with a flower. What's so interesting in that?
Not just any flower. A violet hollyhock. Baron once told me it was Anna's favorite flower.
Anna returns to her normal self, able to think and talk again. Or so it seems.
All will be well. You're going to be fine.
Tammy, I'm dying.
She's not well. Raving. Doesn't rightly know what's happening. You're weak yet. You must rest.
No, listen to me. The crones. I was to be their beast to the end, forever. You broke their spell, but now I must go.
This ending has the most closure. Anna gets to see her husband and daughter all together in a family reunion.
Philip, it's good to see you together.
I'm sorry, Annie. For everything. I'm sorry.
The Baron finally gets to apologise face to face to his wife, and then Anna dies a most dignified death as possible. Despite this ending being less heated than the last, the Baron still does not want to go on living without his wife, which is why this ending also concludes with the Baron hanging himself. Ardal, one of the Baron's men, sits nearby and comments that this was the result of his drinking.
What the hell happened?
Hanged himself. Plain enough to see.
Was he drunk?
Yeah, always knew the hooch would be his end.
Little did the residents of Crow's Perch realise that the Baron died of heartbreak instead. And with this, the quest is over. Regardless of which ending you choose, you never see the Baron, his wife, or Tamara ever again in the story. This sums up the life of a Witcher rather well. You take a job, you make your choice, and you move on.
If I'm to choose between a greater and lesser evil, I'd rather not choose at all. Usually, though, the stakes are just too damn high. Sometimes in choosing a greater evil, you do good, albeit in a small way. When I chose to save the orphans of the swamp, I couldn't know Anna would die, and I never thought the Baron would leave his wife where she lay, find a rope and hang himself. Most times, you make your choice and never look back.
It's a ruthless world, and an accurate summary of what the rest of the Witcher 3 experience is like. You have interlinking and branching quests, moral dilemmas, and choices both minor and major. As a Witcher, the fate of others lies in your hands. Whether you choose to help or stand by, there always will be consequences. People like to invent monsters and monstrosities. Then they seem less monstrous themselves. When they get blind drunk, cheat, steal, beat their wives, starve an old woman, when they kill a trapped fox with an axe, or riddle the last existing unicorn with arrows, they like to think that the Bane entering cottages at daybreak is more monstrous than they are. They feel better then. They find it easier to live. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed my first video covering The Witcher 3. As I said before, it's one of my favourite games, and I hope you'll consider playing it after hearing me talk about it. I've recorded this footage before the next gen update, and the game is actually on sale in the moment. I'm not sponsored at all, I just can't express how much I really want you to experience this game for yourself. If you'd like me to cover more of the Witcher universe and the quests or any other games, please let me know by leaving a comment down below. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and a special thank you to my channel members: Reese's5, Jawbite, Grim, Kyle Coldwell, Hellborn Hero, Ritoyo Blom, Exile Turtle, Bloodfallen223, Kichu, Monkaru, Jeremy, Semfani, Azale, Joe Africano, Nubist, Chase, Just Nick, Kevin H, Tagging on Darwell, Jack Merrifield, and Tabris. Thank you guys so much.